Hello, good evening. It's Friday night. It's grey, it's raining. We're in the South Wales valleys. I'm going to try and do a wild camp using the OEX Salamander Bivy. So not really ideal conditions because I do have a bit of food to cook. Not really cooking, it's a pot noodle. But that's not really possible using a bivy like this when it's raining, unless you want to just sit outside and get wet. So it's going to be interesting setting it up. And I've got a tarp, so I might even try and put a tarp up. But I don't have any poles, so I'm going to need to find a tree or something to use. I bought the OEX Salamanda Bivy for 35 quid off of Facebook Marketplace last year at some point. I did a quick pitch and Rounded did a video on it. It's going to be my first use and possibly last use. This video is a bit about really whether there's any point in the OEX Salamander Bivy because it weighs quite a lot. I'll pop the weight up on screen that I weighed it on my scales. But for a couple extra 100 grams, you can get the OEX Fox one, which is double skin, side entrance, room inside for boots and your pack to stay dry. It's just a lot more tent for actually less money. So I'm not quite sure I see the point of the Salamander Bivy. And in these kind of conditions, I think you'd rather be in a tent all day long. But we're going to give it a go. So only come locally, only a very short walk, just to do an after work camp and just to try out the gear really. Spring is very much here in terms of how everything's growing. The weather is not spring-like at all. It's been cold and rainy and really not any kind of warmth so far. But these little lanes, these little footpaths are getting very overgrown with the spring growth. So I don't think the Welsh plants are suffering too much as a result of the cold weather. Only a short walk, but great views as ever. Beacon shrouded in rain tonight. And the rest of the valley tops. Bits of mist and fog drifting around and steam off of the trees. I've been thinking about camping this spot for a while because of that view really, and the sun should rise over from there as well, so it should be quite nice. So I'm thinking tonight is a good time with a small bivy to find a little patch of grass in these trees, and maybe even use the tarp against a tree as well for a bit of shelter, and then soak in the views and have a bit of food and a cider. There we are. Far from ideal, but we got a little bit of shelter. It's the Rab Silwing tarp, and it was an absolute nightmare because I put these guy lines on it with little blue hook things, and they were tangled in a massive knot. Every time I untangled them, I was trying to get the tarp up, the wind would take the tarp a tiny bit, and they'd be miraculously tangled just an insane amount again. Obviously, didn't bring a trekking pole, so I've had just to use the tree. And I haven't even put the bivy up yet. But it's the views I was pondering for a while. So it's not a brilliant evening for it, but you can't fault that. The OEX Bush Pro Salamander. You can see it's not the world's smallest bivy, but it's not a huge pack size. But yeah, I can't say I'm looking forward to sleeping in it. And the ground's not particularly level either, so I'm not even sure where I'm gonna pitch it. But I think I'm going to leave it a little while because I think I'm going to get some food on, and if it stops raining it'll be much easier to get all my gear into this little bivy and get it set up. But yeah, could be a lot worse, couldn't it? Well, I figured I'd pitch before it gets too dark. I do like the look of it. It's a pretty cool piece of kit. A rear vent underneath there. Massive bathtub. Really thick materials, not have to worry about it. I've just hooked the top piece down to stop any little bits of rain getting in the vent. But that is going to be home for this evening. And I've probably got enough shelter there for all my gear. Obviously the tarp is cheating really. I wasn't going to use the tarp, just felt I had to. What a way to spend a Friday night. Sat under a tarp, listened to the very gentle rain, with an amazing view of a house I used to live in the valley opposite. And nothing but the sound of birdsong and a slightly flappy tarp. I'm not sure I can bother to cook a pot noodle even. I'm too lazy to do it. I've got a big packet of crisps and I've got a can of nice cider, so I think I'm just going to drink that, eat some crisps, and then get all the bed stuff sorted out and go to bed, because yeah, I think I'll just probably sit here and take this view in. Yeah, I'm not sure. I love the look of the Bivy. I think it's a great looking little thing, and I think on a dry evening in the summer it'll be perfect. But yeah, it's not quite the shout I wanted this tonight, really, not for these conditions. Just about 10 to 9, decided to start boiling some water for a pot noodle because I've eaten a big bag of crisps and I'm still a bit hungry. It's still quite light, still quite grey, still spotting rain a little bit, but yeah, it's a really pleasant view, and just being outside just under a little tarp, so I'm very relaxed about it. The bird song from this particular area, lots of natural woodland around here, so it's just a very, very peaceful place to sit. So I've not even started unpacking my bag yet in terms of sleeping gear or anything, so just going to do that whenever I can be bothered, once I've eaten my pot noodle, I think. And then just, yeah, try and get reasonably cosy and try and get a decent night's sleep. It's not level ground here, so I'm sleeping quite uphill, so hopefully I won't just be sliding at the bottom of the bivvy and breaking it. But yeah, another evening where you don't need expensive gear, you don't need high spec stuff. I got this Seal Wings harp off of eBay, really cheap. It was a real bargain. I can't remember how much I paid for it now, but it was really, really good value. So yeah, nice bit of kit. And I do think with something like the Salamanda Bivy, you can't really get away with bad weather unless you just pitch up and get straight in the tent and just dry bag all your gear outside. Without a tarp tonight, it wouldn't have been very pleasant at all. Well, good morning from the Bivy. I actually didn't sleep too badly in it. The only issue was the fact I kept sliding to the bottom. So my feet were right up against the bottom vent because I just couldn't stop myself from sliding down because of the slope that I'm on. But I just had the mesh zipped up all night. The outer layer was just flopped back over the tent, and I slept absolutely fine. And the clouds cleared out a bit, so I could just have views of the woodland in front of me. So it was really, really pleasant. Actually quite a decent space here. I think if you packed a lightweight bag in the summer, you'd be able to get all your gear in here. I did actually have my shoes inside the bivvy at the top, and all my other camera gear down the side and stuff. I just had my big bag outside. So yeah, actually I'm quite surprised by it, because I was thinking I was going to really hate it. But no, it's not too bad a bit of kit. And the bonus is that we've woken up to blue skies, but a bit of nice cloud in the distance. So all the cloud and rain yesterday that passed over was where the sunrise was, so hopefully the time lapse is pretty nice, and it's still quite cool now, but they give it sunny all day and pretty warm. So if you've been in the UK and certainly South Wales over the last few months, a sunny day has just been such a rare occurrence that it's really, really nice to have anything that's not rain or just really, really thick, grey, miserable cloud. So it's only actually 20 to 7, so I should start thinking about getting up and getting packed away really, but it's really, really pleasant just lying here with the gentle breeze and the bird song. So I'm not really in a hurry to get moving, but I'm in a fairly exposed location near a footpath, so I don't want to hang around too long. So you can just about see the bivvy and the setup. So actually a decent amount of space really. I was able to get all my stuff down the side, all my valuables, a couple of cameras and my shoes at the top here. So if it had been raining, all my real equipment would have been secure and dry, and the views, I was able to take those in this morning, sat up in the bivvy. Absolutely beautiful location. Just a shame I couldn't find a slightly flatter pitch. I had expected to dislike the OEX Salamanda Bush Pro Bivy, but I think I'm going to keep it for a while longer and take it for another camp at some point. Obviously last night I benefited from the fact that I had a tarp, so I could put the tarp up and sit out of the rain and enjoy the evening and stuff. If it had been raining and I just had Bivy, it would have been very much a case of trying to get it pitched, trying to get all your gear in without getting too much rain in, and then getting straight into the bivvy and just sort of lying there, so that wouldn't have been so good. So I still think it's too heavy. it's too heavy for a bivvy really, I think. When you can get a Fox One for just a tiny bit more weight and normally a lower price, I'm not quite sure what function this bivvy serves, but it is a compact footprint, decent headroom at the top. It's got a little lamp hook as well, so it's really quite a usable space. And I was surprised at the width as well at this top end, where I was able to get lots of stuff down the side and get my trainers in as well. So yeah, it surprised me. I had a good night's sleep, and I think if I had given it a proper test on a flatter pitch, would have been even more comfortable sleep as well. So yeah, it has surprised me. I was thinking about just using it and then saying how bad it was and then selling it, but it's not bad at all. It's a decent bivvy, and I know another YouTuber, I'll link to his YouTube channel in the comments as well. He just bought one on eBay for 35 quid, which is exactly the same as what I paid for it as well. So if you're paying 35 quid for this kind of shelter, I don't think you can go wrong. I love the shape of it, the extended bathtub and stuff. It does function really well. It's way preferable to the helium bivvy I used before, the outdoor equipment one. That was obviously much lighter, but the lack of structure, that was a nightmare. I guess it would have been different if I was in this tent last night without the mesh being open, because it probably would have had a lot of condensation. But with the mesh open, I still found the protection from any breeze was really good, so I wasn't cold. It wasn't a particularly warm night, but I wasn't cold at all. So yeah, I'm actually really impressed with it, so I should probably keep it and try it again at some point. That was a surprisingly chilled camp. I was quite surprised at how much I like the Salamanda Bivy. And I certainly like the location. You can't really fault that. So I walked around this hill quite a few times and admired this view and often thought about a little camp here. And it didn't disappoint. It was nice to hear the bird song go silent last night, and then about 4 a.m. this morning it just started up again. A range of different birds starting at different times in the morning, and it's just been a chorus all the way through. So it does give you some different experiences than if you just camp up in the barren beacons or something. This kind of natural woodland and pine forest here, yeah, it was very different but very relaxing. If I could change one thing about the Salamander Bivy, it would be the bag. Comes with one of those stupid bags that's too small, it's difficult to get back in, and it's got a roll top which you can't really roll up because it's hard to pack the bivy away small enough to get it in and then do the roll top up properly. So if I was going to make one change, I would just stuff it in a bigger dry bag. I don't know why manufacturers always make things like that so small. Van Gogh and other manufacturers got the right idea when they do the side entrance bags where you can just stuff it all in and zip it up and then compress it. It's crazy to me that manufacturers don't just universally adopt that design. Beautiful cloud formations looking north. Swamp in the central Brecon Beacon Mountains, you can't see any of those. So I guess we're quite lucky to be in a patch of sunshine, because it's like a lot of South Wales is disappearing into cloud. I think that's my 5th wild camp on this hill. Every time a slightly different location, and I've still never seen a single soul up here whilst I've been camping. Never been disturbed, never even heard anybody anywhere near me, so pretty close to lots of different civilization around here. But I guess when you really sit down and think about it, who's going to walk up a random hill on a Friday night in the dark, in the rain? The chance of anyone finding you or seeing you is pretty slim. And the views opening right up, so we are camped just in a little patch of woodland there, looking between that valley and the light and the views. Just part of the reason why I come up here so often. Big buzzer sound on a fence post. Plenty of nice skies. And there we have the valleys. Almost back to the car now. It's only a very, very short walk. Only a quick local camp today. God, there's about 15 bunny rabbits in the middle of this field. It's because I put my zoom camera away today. I've seen lots of wildlife on the way back. If I had taken my zoom camera out and had it on me, I wouldn't have seen any of this stuff. But yeah, it's been a really good little camp. I think I'm definitely someone who does actually enjoy a kind of bivvy and tarp type setup. Just the freedom of being able to see outside all night, be a bit more connected to the location you're in. It was great when the skies cleared a bit and you could see the stars, and just a little bit of woodland in front of the bivvy. And yeah, even though it was a fairly chilly night, it wasn't cold at all with the tiny bit of breeze that's coming into the bivvy. And yeah, just more connected to everything. So yeah, if you are in the market for a cheap, durable, albeit slightly heavy bivvy, then the OEX Salamander is a really good option because, like I said, I got them for 35 quid. I know someone else who just bought them for 35 quid. They regularly go for between 30 and 50 quid second hand, and often they've probably been used once. Someone's bought it, used it once, thought, I don't like Bivy, it's not for me, and they sell it on. So I think it's a really, really bargain little bit of kit. And I think in the summer months when you've got smaller pack size, you can take a small pack or an unstructured pack, empty your gear into the bivvy, and then fold the pack into the bivvy as well, get your shoes in the front. You'll actually have all your gear inside with you, so even if it was going to rain overnight, you wouldn't really be impacted. So yeah, I'm really impressed. Anyway, I'm going to leave it here. It looks like an interesting day with lots of beautiful skies, so I'm going to go and go home, take the family out, and I'll catch you in the next one.